Imagine a future where we're all communicating with all nations, collaborating as a world, co-creating and effectively collaborating in real time, where we operate from clear understandings and reliable environmental feedback simultaneously. Developing and implementing ideas and solutions in a sustainable way and in a way that is balanced and harmonious and in service to all species of the world and to all of humanity. The WSS is currently doing this and is on the path to creating this new world. We are focused on transforming current ways of solving global ecological and social problems and of fulfilling human needs while reducing suffering and doing so without generating more challenges, pollution, or plastics in the environment. This video is designed to show the relevance for what we call the Phoenix World Transformation Platform. This platform is designed to function as a bridge between where we are now as a species globally and where we need to be. These pictures represent the beauty of nature that surrounds us and into which we were born. They show a world that used to be the constant environment we experienced as human beings. They are now becoming rapidly less common. The beauty of nature is rapidly shrinking away and becoming a collective memory. The earth is a beautiful jewel and a miracle for us to experience as human beings. Feel the energies of these diverse ecologies and environments. Breathe them in. Experience them fully. It's important that we recognize the necessity of our caring stewardship of these environments, as well as our dependence upon them. It is equally important to realize our personal and collective detrimental impacts on the natural world. In the past, we developed simple technologies such as flint tools, canoes, and gourds to carry water. Since our earliest beginnings as a species, we have vastly grown in our technological capacities. These new technologies of all kinds were necessary for us to develop and to proliferate as a species. Simultaneously, many of the adaptive technologies that we've created, whether the diesel engine, computers, or our ability to utilize fossil fuels to produce plastics or electricity, also produce an amazing number of toxifying byproducts. These are the unforeseen results and costs of these apparently excellent adaptive technological marvels that we take for granted today and that we see as absolutely necessary for our survival. We continue to rapidly innovate our technologies, and some people would see this innovation as the solution to all problems, as if a new technology would fix everything, and as if pollution would all go away and climate change would simply disappear. In fact, our current innovation and technological solutions are not working, and climate change is only getting worse. Experts estimate we have only 8 years, or until 2030, before the damage to our planet is irreversible. To truly heal our world, there must be something more than mere technological innovation or adaptation. We must change our thoughts and our feelings, transform societies, transform how humanity relates to humanity, and how humanity relates to the natural world, so that we can find a new balance and live from that new balance on a constant basis and in a way that's healthy for us, healthy for the world, and healthy for all future generations. We've designed our lives beyond many limits and processes of nature. In the natural world, if any species in the world proliferated too broadly, the ecosystem would push back on them and diminish their numbers, and balance would be the result. and this natural process has successfully operated for billions of years. Human beings have, through our adaptive technologies, striven to require nature to submit to us, to be conquered or destroyed by us. For example, we have clear-cut the forests in the Amazon to make room for grazing cattle, and we apply pesticides around the world. The result of this human-created ecological imbalance is climate change, pollution, rising acidification, and deoxygenated oceans, deforestation, extreme weather, and of course, an ever more toxic planet. These forever chemicals have been shown to cause cancer in human beings. They have been shown to cause illness and death in animals. And there are now many new chemicals being created and disposed of. We have no understanding of their long-term effects on ourselves or on the natural world. We currently do not even have the capacity to test for many of these chemicals. So we truly don't know what we or our families are drinking in our tap water. This is what we would term the keyhole view on generation of adaptive solutions in our world. If you look at this picture, it may seem wonderful. Ice-cold water, fresh, bottled, manageable, portable, and supposedly safely storable for long periods of time. Lightweight, cheap, and disposable, easy to produce, and supposedly recyclable. Of course, we're going to communicate that these assumptions are not true. The motivations, understandings, and thinking that produced these bottles did not consider how they would proliferate by the billions in our world and kill animals, toxify the air, and create microplastics that we then consume in our seafood, water, and other food products. We didn't even consider that there is a natural global water cycle and that the plastic particles would get broken down in the oceans or on the land, and that they're going to end up in our drinking water. Bottled water is convenient. When we can quench our thirst, we don't have to think about it or be conscious of what we're doing, and we're not required to understand our effect on the environment. Just pop it open, drink the water, toss the bottle, and then assume it's all going to be dealt with by someone else. This prioritization of convenience over safety is generating unintended consequences. The keyhole consciousness perspective of humanity is a mental blinder that obscures our vision and has a very narrow focus that prevents us from seeing the whole long-term picture and the implications of our inventions, and thus is limiting our capacity to care about their effects on the natural world. Much like a horse with blinders designed to allow a horse to focus on their narrow path without distractions, human beings have had blinders limiting their view of our effects on the world. We refer to that limited view as myopia, meaning having such a focus on one goal that we lose focus on others, and thus lose focus on the consequences of our actions. The cause and effect dynamics of our world are not clear and obvious to people. This keyhole process is created by preconceptions, assumptions, belief systems, and habits. Unwise choices seem okay and not a problem because everyone else is doing it, or everyone else says it's a good thing. If we can each learn a better way of producing solutions, we can make different choices and not become entrained by the collective. The plastic bottle solved a narrow problem without understanding the whole picture. What are the real trade-offs and real costs of this single-use container? If we widen our view outside the keyhole to see the larger picture, we begin to see the unintended consequences of this convenience on our planet. As we pan out further, we recognize that we are creating a seemingly unsolvable mess in our world of toxic pollution that comes back around to us, because life truly is a circle. All of humanity's global life process is a circular evolutionary process, a learning process, a chemical process, and a cause and effect process. If we burn it, it creates more pollution. Only a small percentage is actually recycled, and an even smaller percentage is ever truly reused. We don't have systems in place globally to keep pollution from happening, nor to clean it up, nor to generate a new way of life that does not pollute. We need all of this solved yesterday. So, we make plastics, we transport them, we store them, we use them, then we dispose of them. During every step on the plastic bottle life cycle, toxic chemicals are released into the air, water, and soil, which are dangerous to all of us and to all forms of life. Toxic byproducts, their costs and damage to the environment are way out of proportion to the benefit of the plastic bottle itself. Making plastics requires us to extract petroleum and natural gas, and we're doing that in ways that are damaging to the world, whether this damage occurs from fracking or oil spills. We now have to drill deeper to get oil. We're running out of fossil fuels and reaching the point where it will cost more to get the oil out of the ground than companies make selling it. Plastic pellets melted into plastic bottles are leaching into the environment during production. We're continually producing bottled water in the United States and around the world, and in enormous numbers. This bottle production requires the energy used for fueling 1.9 to 3.2 million cars per year in the US alone. Plastic water bottle production and bottling uses over 10 times the amount of water it holds. Even though you might be told that the bottled water that you drink is pure, unadulterated well water, it's not. 30% of it is just tap water. The incineration of these plastic bottles emits more than 850 million metric tons of CO2 annually, and this is projected to triple by 2050. This trajectory is not sustainable. The delivery system for bottled water includes trucks that use more petroleum and sit out in the sun, and while the sun heats the water bottles, all of these plastic bottles then leach pollutants into the water. Then people drink these pollutants. This convenience comes at a very high price. The trucks that deliver these bottles of water are also partially made of plastic. The tires that trucks run on are partially made of plastic. The tires on the trucks only last for 18 months, and then they're usually replaced. Then they go into a landfill or are otherwise disposed of, and they can there last in the environment for 50 to 2,000 years. This is a massive rolling process of pollution. When plastic is produced for any purpose, whether it be water, lemonade, or iced tea, that case of plastic bottles is then wrapped in plastic. Then, placed on a pallet, these cases are wrapped in plastic and then placed on a truck that is partially made of plastic. The average bottle takes a few minutes to drink, and yet its impact on the environment is everlasting, and then they are piling up all over our planet and in our oceans. And while our oceans seem enormous, the amount of plastics we have produced since the 1950s is roughly equal to the weight of 1 billion elephants, or 47 million blue whales, according to Greenpeace, and growing exponentially. The annual flow of plastic into the ocean will triple by 2040. Isn't it ironic that a simple and convenient container for water is contributing to the mass displacement and destruction of habitats for the world's whales and marine life? Every day, 1.3 billion bottles are sold, and over the next month it will be 40 billion, which would bury the Eiffel Tower. We are dumping our toxins, and we often dump them on marginalized peoples within and outside the United States, such as India and China, and this is a commonly known practice. In the last minute of this animation, more than 1 million bottles were sold. The poor are far more disproportionately impacted by coal-burning plants and other kinds of pollutants than those in better economic situations. We're not cleaning up after ourselves as a species, whether as individuals or as nations. 85% of plastics goes to dumps, and 13% are incinerated. only 8.6% is actually recycled. And then you might think, oh good, at least 8.6%. Unfortunately, of that 8.6% that is recycled, only 1.7% goes back into generating more new plastic products. So only 1.7% is still in use. The process of recycling, reuse, and reduction is not working, and it is toxifying our planet. The cycles of this dynamic, for much of humanity, are invisible. They're not being touted by governments or many for-profit organizations or enough social movements, and they're not getting the airtime compared to the marketing for for-profit organizations that are trying to sell plastic products. This situation is not adequately understood, and this is only one simple product, a plastic bottle. How many other products and solutions are out there that are not being managed well and that have been arrived at through this same keyhole process of myopic profit motive? How much rework and cleanup will be required as this whole machine of economics accelerates faster and faster, and as organizations create ever more social media capacity to distract us, to buy products that pollute and toxify our world so that they can increase next quarter's profits? Are corporations even considering this cycle, and do they care? We hope that they do. We pray that they do. We want to communicate them so that we can ensure that they do, and we want to help them to understand. This is a learning curve that humanity must successfully move through. There must be some comprehensive educational mechanism to solve these issues. World System Solutions is building the Social Movement Engine, or the SME, a collaborative social network that delivers education on these topics and for these purposes. With these socially conscious technologies, we can focus on transforming our current ways of solving world, ecological, and human problems, of fulfilling human needs, while reducing human suffering and doing so without generating more problems, pollution, or plastics in the environment. We will share educational information and resources in ways that people can digest in their busy and complicated lives so that they can effectively and efficiently and in the near term work together to resolve climate change. This is our vision, and we have faith that it will occur. The keyhole approach to pollution and the common symbol for recycling, recycle, reuse, and reduce, is actually opposed to what is needed. We feel this is not good enough. Even if we have some systems for recycling and some small amount of reuse, even if we reduce a little here and there, we're still accelerating like a train headed towards a brick wall. What can a person do, starting today? The first and most important step is to become conscious of the situation. Then we must maximize our reuse and ensure that what is created is recyclable and that it is actually recycled and doesn't end up in a landfill, doesn't end up in the ocean, doesn't end up in the air, and doesn't end up in our population or in other animals or our children in the future. The life cycle of plastics leads to transportation, storage, use, and disposal. If we look at each step of this process, there are many things that are useful to understand. The lifespan of plastic is 400 to 1,000 years. That's longer than any of us is going to live, and it will affect the world for all of those years. So that means that Tupperware from the 1950s still exists out in the world somewhere, in trash dumps, in the air we breathe, and in the food we eat. Please ask yourselves this question: how much plastic are you eating, drinking, and breathing every minute of every day and every year? Do you know, and do you have a way to know? Is there any system of governance in our world that's going to tell you the truth about that, and that will really make a difference in your life and in the lives of your family and your children? This keyhole view is the way we have been looking at the world. Paradoxically, keys open locks, and when locks are open, doors open. And when we open doors, instead of simply looking through keyholes, we see more clearly. New perspectives, broader perspectives, holistic perspectives. We can create a better future together for ourselves out of sheer, unconditional love for the planet in resonance with spirit. We of the WSS are practical optimists. We feel that things can change, and we recognize that they must now change in everyone's lives, everywhere in the world. We must work together to make that happen. We can only do that if we unite, align, and mobilize. We can only truly unite if we accept everyone as equals, heal our differences, agree upon how to proceed into the future together, love each other at every step along the way, and build a future world that works. And that is an expression of love for our natural world and our future generations. This is just the beginning. Together we are creating a mirror for the whole planet and for the future. That mirror is the Phoenix platform. This is the beginning of a new world where everyone has a voice and is clearly heard and understood, where we have a constant circulation and sharing of information, resources, and learning, where we are all informed and information and resources are fairly shared across the world in real time. A new global culture starts now, here with us. To learn more, visit our website, wssnow.org.